Just to give a bit of context for those who don't know, the siege of Vicksburg began in spring of 1863 when Union General Grant marched his troops up from Bruinsburg further south up through Port Gibson and began the siege of Vicksburg, which lasted for 46 days until formal surrender on Independence Day 1863, July 4th 1863. This whole military park is a commemoration of that battle and siege for Vicksburg.
This is all Union territory. All Union forces were down this end.
All the blue markers signify divisions of Union troops on the blue markers, and the red markers will be the Confederate troops, which we haven't come across just yet. This would have been the type of landscape up ahead when battles took place. This is Battery de Gaulier. It says from this position a battery of guns, including those from the 8th Michigan Artillery, hammered the Confederate Great Redoubt directly ahead. So the Confederate positions would have been up ahead over there. And it says this is one of the few spots today with a clear view of the enemy's defences. So the natural forests have grown back up, so all this would have been clear of trees during the time of the war. He's going to go up and take a look now at the Shirley House. This is the only surviving structure from the war. The 45th Illinois were headquartered here, and they elaborately bomb-proofed it for the duration of the war. Well, there's a picture of the Shirley House at the time of the war. It's now been restored to its pre-war appearance. They own 25 enslaved workers. James Shirley and his wife Adeline were Union sympathisers. So this Illinois memorial probably has to go down as the most impressive in the park. Some are quite small. Not this one. Steps are not made for out these. But how impressive is this? Names of officers of various divisions. So I've carried this bit on with my phone as the battery just run out on the camera. There's the seal, state seal on the floor. Quite impressive. So is the view as you come out. As I said earlier, all that ahead, there would have been no trees at the time of the battle. They only sprung back up in the last 150 years or so. stop of the this stop of the tour is to have a look at the USS Cairo. Spelled Cairo but pronounced Cairo. Oh yeah. That was Battle of Memphis. Depiction of the Battle of Memphis on June 6, 1862. There's no main feat for nobody to be lost. Take a closer look at the inner working. These are the boilers at the row at the bottom of the boilers. This one on top then is the steam drum. So it says here, so I wouldn't know that otherwise. On the other side, to drive the engine, drive the paddles. So all those personal items in the museum are actually off the Cairo. See, if it was sunk in 12 minutes, you're not going to have much time to gather up your personal belongings. The pilot house would have been up, just up there with a ring of protective iron going around the sides. So this is interesting. This is the ending. This is the interview site where General Grant for the Union armies and General Pemberton for the Confederate forces held their discussions for the surrender by Pemberton of Vicksburg. It says inside, Vicksburg, Pemberton faced harsh realities. A third of his troops were too sick to fight. Their drinking water was contaminated. They were short of food and ammunition, and Union troops completely surrounded them. This is another view across the battlefields of the Vicksburg campaign. You can see blue markings where Union forces were, and there's the odd scattering then of the red markers where the Confederate forces were. There's a couple up here. You can see the Illinois Memorial in the background, and the Shirley House. And just down by there is where the surrender terms took place.
Well, yeah, got him. Get off the road, sweetie.
Kentucky Monument, got to walk for this one. Hope it's not too far. Ah, there it is over there. This is the Kentucky Monument with Jefferson Davis, Confederate President, and President Lincoln. Just a coincidence that both presidents were native of Kentucky, born less than a year apart. Lincoln in Kentucky on February 12th, 1809, Davis June 3rd, 1808. United we stand, divided we fall. So we've just left the National Battlefield across the road there. The entrance just up to the lights. And this, handily enough, is where we're staying tonight, in Hampton, Vicksburg. Top tip when you're travelling in America in the boiling hot weather and you think it's a good idea to keep the car parked in the shade, don't park under a tree, because those buggers up there